Notorious, so notorious.
It's Friday night, and the posse's back. Deep dives, local vibes, and headlines that matter, or totally don't. So crack a beer, crank it up. This is the NFNP.
All right, we're late again. Duds.
2 minutes.
Last time it was Nilla. This time it's you. Always late. That's fine. It just means I got to drink more beer in the lead up, which probably makes me more fun and more interesting. I don't know. So what's going on?
Just got back from a soccer game. 4-0.
Yep.
We won.
Hey, all right.
They look good out there.
How old is he?
This was Emerson, first grade.
Emerson.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had a soccer practice last night, so we got our next games aren't until the Turkey Bowl, Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty fun watching them. They have improved greatly just in a year.
It's crazy how quickly they do get better. We couldn't even keep a practice organized at all at the beginning of the season. They were just running around, playing tag and doing all kinds of stuff. And now you're like, oh, wait a minute, they can dribble the ball,
playing positions,
pass, and yeah. Now, Kat, for her league, for her games, they play 5-on-5, so it's real small games, that kind of a thing. So
actually, at this age, I like the indoor better.
That's what I was going to ask. What it was.
Yeah, we're not doing indoor this year, so we'll do the Turkey Bowl. That'll be our last thing, and then we'll take the winter off, and then we'll start back up in the spring.
We just started Vetta's winter session, I guess.
Yeah.
We usually only do one because by the time it's over, she's done. She doesn't want to do the second session.
Yeah, and that's what our coach said. They were like, you know what, like they're in first grade. We don't want them getting burnt out. We want them to think that soccer's fun. So we're gonna skip the winter session, and we'll come back in the spring.
Think that it is.
What?
You said you want them to think that it's fun.
Correct.
Trick them.
I mean, trick them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the thing is after practice or after the game, you take them to Wally's and they get a pretzel and
ice cream,
Carmelo or something. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had a Carmelo?
A long time. They're so good, though.
Oh, they're good.
All right. So
they're good. You don't see them enough.
I have a story. It's not crazy, but I bought a bag from like Sam's or something like that. Like,
really?
I don't know, maybe a year or something ago.
Like little ones?
Yeah, individual fun size one.
Okay.
They weren't actually as good as I remember them being 20 years ago.
You got to get the full size ones.
Are they better then?
I'm sure.
I think.
I don't know.
Lindor makes like a same kind of thing. I've never had it though, but their chocolate's really good. Have you seen those? They're like a little bar,
I've seen them.
like a Carmelo.
Yeah. I personally, and I'm not sure why again, but the fun size Snickers, I think they taste better than the full size Snickers. It's something to do with the ratio.
Though. There's nothing fun about a
check
small Snickers.
Fun size,
You think they're better?
All right.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm telling you, check it out.
As much fun as it is to debate candy, I think personally, I don't know, maybe not.
This is a pretty important topic.
Oh, so important! Right after Halloween,
well,
right?
Yeah.
We still have so much candy. Like it'll last us until next Halloween.
We get rid of it all.
Well, I get rid of it at next Halloween. I just hand it out to the kids. They don't know any different. I thought it'd be a lot more fun to debate the 50-year mortgage. So I know, right? Super interesting topic. But of course, it's all over the news right now, and it is relevant. And we're all homeowners, so
almost.
I was like,
well, what's your take on it?
I mean, well, I think it's bull hockey. that's a phrase that my dad would say, and as much as I think we support President Trump, I think this is a dumb idea.
Well, it pretty much doubles the interest that you're going to have.
Well, so yeah. So I've got some stats about that. that are pretty crazy, and that's almost exactly what it does.
Yeah.
So here we go. The payment drops modestly. Lifetime interest soars. Examples using a 30-year versus a 50-year can cut the payment about 15% max, but it doubles the total interest. So like, so saving 10, 15%, $200 a month, is $200 a month going to make that big of a difference when you're paying on a loan for an additional 20 years?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, it's going to make some, obviously, but not to add another 20 years. I looked at it, and I think that the worst part about it is, like, say for a $300,000 mortgage, after 10 years, you still owe like $270,000.
Because all the interest is front loaded.
Right.
So I think for a 50-year loan, essentially the first 25 years, you're going to be paying more interest than you are gaining in principal.
Yeah,
so it's almost for 25 years, you're essentially just renting.
Yeah, and what's the average length of home ownership before people move? So you're not.
It depends. Is it their first house? Is it their second house? Is it their final house? I mean, I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, I think the whole goal is for like the first time home buyers.
Sure.
So you're going to get into a starter
And
home
see, that's
and stay there
that's
for
the
10
thing
years.
though, where it's different for like people like us who are a little bit older now, right? Don't like that extra $200, not the big of a deal, right? But to a kid who's 24 or something, let's just say, whatever, that might be big, I don't know, but still, it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, if you go get a 50-year mortgage right now, you're going to be paying it off when you're 90.
I'll be dead, yeah.
Well, and supposedly, and I was telling Nilla this before we started recording, there are some countries that have these 50-year mortgages and multi-generational mortgages where essentially they get inherited by the next generation. But it's more common, I think, in some of these other countries where the kids essentially stay in the household. They never move out, and then they have kids, and now there's 3-4 generations living in one house. So, for the U.S., I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense to be.
Well,
90
to some
years
degree,
old
though,
and still
doesn't that happen anyways, though? Okay, like let's say, somebody dies, you inherit the house, it's not paid off. Well, you just inherited the loan anyways, almost, or you sell it most likely. One of the two.
You're selling it most of the time, and you're taking the principal,
or you're moving it in
I think
and selling yours.
One of the two.
Right.
I think you have benefits, tax benefits. If you do it faster, if you do it within the first 3 months after you inherit the house, I think there's a lot more tax benefits. If you wait, then you end up paying a bunch of extra taxes. I don't know. Luckily, it's not an issue for any of us yet.
Another thing I saw that they were talking about doing, which I actually think might be a really good idea, is a portable mortgage. So if you're locked in at a low rate now, being able to use that rate and go to a new home somewhere else. That makes sense.
I had this on the sheet too, and I heard about that this morning. So I'm like, okay, is Trump pivoting a little bit? You got a bunch of backlash about how stupid this 50-year mortgage is. And then they came out with this portable mortgage idea. Of course, none of it's written in stone yet. And again, this is in other countries. I think England and Canada have options for portable mortgages. And I like that idea a lot more. I think all of us were relatively lucky when we purchased our homes. And I like to tell my story a little bit. You guys know, Caroline and I, we had the old house. It was certainly a starter home. We had just had our first kid, and I'm like, well, we're going to have to upgrade at some point. But I specifically said, this was in 2019. Trump was president. The election was coming up. I was like, now's the time. Because I don't know what's going to happen, whether Trump wins or the Democrats win. Something was going to happen, and the economy was going to blow up. And that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. And COVID happened. Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we're right. And that, who wouldn't have been able to predict COVID, but that essentially was probably part of it. Interest rates skyrocketed, home prices skyrocketed. Like, we wouldn't be able to afford the house that we're in now if we're trying to buy it today. It just wouldn't. The math wouldn't work. We locked in an interest rate of like 2% or something.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. Is if you look at the values of homes now and the interest rates, it would be really difficult for us even to afford the house we're in currently with the how much it is going for now and what we'd have to pay in interest. I mean, the monthly payment would be $3,000 or something
I was going to say
crazy.
be at least double.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, look at the Bobcat man, and
Right.
the situation that he's in,
Yeah.
and we're not privy to his exact financials, but he complains about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
quote unquote house poor. You're spending whatever it is, 40% of your income on your house. So I got some stats about that too. So first, here's some information on the history of the 30-year mortgage. So I thought some of this was pretty interesting. So pre-1930s, most mortgages were only 3 or 10 year, but they were interest only with massive down payments. It, I don't know, it really wasn't feasible in the long run. And then of course the Great Depression hit and everything exploded, so they kind of had to rethink it. So then in 1933 and 1934, they started standardizing longer loans that we're used to now with an amortization schedule and things like that. So this was a little bit of a pivot from the big debt that they were doing before with all the high interest. So these programs normalized the fixed rate. So again, what we're mostly used to now, before the housing crash of '08, there was a lot of the, what were they called? ARM loans, right? And you had one.
Yeah, which
exactly.
people now are like, what the crap is that? Like, doesn't even exist, I don't think, hardly anymore.
Right.
well,
Which,
they had the balloons too, where you could pay the
yeah,
interest only, and then you'd have that balloon payment coming at the end.
right. Luckily, with ours, we refinanced after a year anyways, and then got, a regular, actually, I think we went to a 15 or a 20-year mortgage at that time, but at a lower rate again still, and kind of avoided the ARM.
Right. And that's the thing, you were able to refinance, but now it doesn't behoove a lot of people to refi. So if you're in a situation where you have to,
Yeah,
then
you're
you're
screwed.
getting these,
Yeah.
you're kind of screwed. And then you're also de-incentivized to move. So
Yeah.
going back to that portable idea, that's kind of the idea that like, hey, maybe you're in a situation where you weren't going to move because rates were too high, but now, you can take that loan with you. So you might be like, oh, okay, we can move. It's not that big of a deal. But I think that's what's happening right now. People aren't moving. So then there's not as many houses on the market. So then there's more demand, and you
Yeah.
have to
Right.
do all this crazy stuff where you're not getting inspections or,
Yeah.
whatever.
As is.
Well, then home prices go up too because of that, right?
Well, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, because like I don't really want to move, even though again, it's a good time to sell, maybe not necessarily buy, but then again, because we bought it at a good time, 10 years ago or whatever it was, there's money to be made on selling, but then you're going to be paying more because of the interest rate alone, yet plus, the inflation.
Right. So that's the thing. So unless you're like downsizing or you got an influx of cash and now you can purchase your next home in cash, then it doesn't necessarily make sense. So for like the older generation that's selling their big house, their big 2-story house with 4 or 5 bedrooms, whatever, they don't have that. They don't need that anymore. So they sell that when it's at its peak.
Mhm.
You're making a bunch of money, and then you're going and you're paying. Now you might pay more on the actual condo or duplex or smaller home, but of course you're paying cash, and you don't have to deal with any crazy interest rates and
Mhm.
and all of that. So
Yep.
The thing that worries me is a lot of people that are thinking that the interest rates are going to go back down, and I don't see it happening personally. I don't think they're going to go down a whole lot.
Yeah.
not for a long time. I mean, we're seeing a little bit, and of course Trump's putting a lot of pressure, for the rates to come down. But I think they just came out and said that they're not going to do anything for the rest of the year. So now that puts us into 2026.
What are they at now? 5 something, 5.5?
No, I think it's
Five
still
and a
in the
half?
sixes,
Six?
right?
Oh,
I
I mean,
think so.
okay,
I don't know.
maybe it is.
Luckily, I'm at the position. I don't even really have to pay attention at the
Yeah.
moment.
Well, right.
But
I think we're going to see that the Fed is trying to lower rates, and it's not going to have the impact they want, and inflation is going to keep going up, and they're going to have to not lower or not do any more rate cuts. So those interest
Yeah.
rates are not going to go down. I
Right,
don't
right.
think. personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you lower the rate by 0.25%, 0.5%, and then maybe you see what inflation does, and if it stays steady, you can keep trimming it a little bit. But if it starts creeping back up, then maybe you don't raise the rates, but you're not gonna drop them,
Right.
right?
Well, all they have to
So
do is manipulate the inflation like they always do. If they can try and manipulate it
Just
enough,
manipulate the dollar.
yeah, show that it's
Well,
actually going down, but it's really not. They're just lying
also
to
I
everybody.
was also telling Brightman that they had heard about the 15-year car loan
So I saw that, but then I also saw that was all
made
fake.
up.
Yeah, it was made
Yeah,
up.
well, it should be.
I mean, that's
Then again, the
but
price of
that's
a
even
car now is the
dumber.
price of a house used to be.
well, that's
It's
what I was gonna
true.
say. People are they're buying $100,000 trucks. I'm
Yeah.
like, my first house wasn't much more than that,
Right.
I know.
So I
But
mean,
a
I don't
15-year
know.
loan on a car, I mean, come on. That's who drives cars for 15 years anymore.
Well, that's true too.
Well, supposedly they are lasting longer, but the other thing is though is the technology on cars is increasing so much. So, my wife's got a 2014 Chevy Equinox, and it's a good car. We have a couple problems, but for the most part, it's been pretty solid. But now it doesn't have any of the gadgets and the gizmos that she
Sure, sure.
wants.
Hey, less things to break.
So, well, that is true. And I told her she can't get a new car until we're out of daycare. We gotta
Yeah,
get the last kid out of daycare, and
yeah,
1 week of his daycare is essentially a car payment.
yeah.
So I
True,
was
true.
like, we
Damn.
can buy a new car, and we'll still be
Yeah.
net positive. So
Yeah, daycare's
we've got a
another
ways
thing,
to
man.
go
That's
there.
crazy how expensive that is.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's a great point, Duds, and talking about inflation. And I know we're getting a little bit off topic here, but certain things, have certainly skyrocketed when it comes to inflation. And I think daycare is one of them.
Oh, it's crazy.
Price of cars, price of homes, medical costs. So like grocery prices have maybe come down a little bit, but they're still high. I just did my open enrollment, and I did everything exactly the same. So no changes, but of course my payment is $8 more, I think, a paycheck, so $16 more a month, give or take. And now I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but what is that? That's going to be
Times 26.
180 or whatever, $190 a year, right? That's just extra, just gone.
Yeah.
And
I didn't
then
even
you
look at
throw.
mine. I re-enrolled. Didn't even look at how much to see what it was going to cost. I just, it
Well,
is
because
what
what
it
are
is.
you
I'm
going to
not
do?
sure.
You have to
Gotta
do it,
Well, right.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you got. I mean, so there's not much to
Nope.
do. You just
Yeah.
put up with
You don't have
it.
a choice. Yeah.
I
Right.
actually saw something that said the pre-Obamacare legislation that the average healthcare or health insurance cost per year was around $6,000. Now it's like 16.
Well,
Well, and that's what this whole government shutdown, and we haven't talked about it yet. But of course,
yeah.
the government is open.
Yeah.
Yay.
You can fly again.
I have some sound effects in here. I could do a round of applause or whatever, but nobody's got time for that. But
A
yeah,
round
okay.
of
But that
applause.
was
How you feeling?
right. Yeah. How do you feel? By a round of applause.
Yeah.
Love it. That's a callback, a Dane Cook callback.
Old.
Yes, it is. He's old now.
It's true.
But so they reopened the government, but the whole thing that the Democrats were holding out for were these Obamacare subsidies. And I heard something the other day, and I don't really understand it, is that Schumer was trying to get these Democrats that were on the fringe, the ones that ended up voting to reopen the government. He was trying to convince them to wait until after open enrollment started, which they did. Now I don't necessarily understand why. I don't, that's over my head, I guess. But it's all about these Obamacare subsidies. And if you watched Trump last night signing the bill,
Mhm.
after the House passed it, the Senate the day before, and then the House, and Trump last night signing the bill, he said something about these Obamacare subsidies that was kind of like, clicked. And what they do right now is they take all this money because healthcare has gone up so much. So the government gives all this money to the insurance companies to help bring the cost down on the Obamacare market or whatever they call it, right?
Mhm.
So that these people can go in. So Trump was like, well, we're going to stop doing that. We're just going to give those subsidies. We're just going to give that money to the American people.
Yeah. All you're doing is making
like-
the insurance companies rich.
Of course, which is why they love that, and I'm sure they have, they're in the pocketbooks of all of these congressmen and
They were the
senators,
lobbyists that got that
that's
passed.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Of course, right. Now, what my wife said as we were talking about this last night is she was like, well, people they'll take that money and they won't buy health insurance.
That's
and I was like,
prerogative,
I was like, I guess that's the thing. But then you end up in this endless cycle where if they don't have health insurance, but they need health care,
they go to the
Yeah.
ER. Yeah.
That's right.
they
We'll
still
pay
go
for
it, and we still end up paying for it.
Yeah.
It just ends up being this endless cycle, And
Did
of course, they
anybody-
got rid of the requirement. It used to be that
Oh,
you had to get,
They got rid of it?
up with Obamacare. Yeah, the Republicans got rid of that a while back. So now if you don't have health care, it's not illegal.
Yeah, right. Which that's kind of weird in the first place. It's illegal. I mean, but then again, I guess we're going to pay for it, so you
Right.
should have to have it.
Right.
But I mean, it's too expensive if you don't have a job that offers it. That's however much it is.
Sure.
Well, I think though,
Well,
if you go to the
that's the whole
ER,
thing.
they should only be required to like stabilize you. If you don't
Yeah,
have insurance, so
Right.
you're not going to die.
And I think that is all that they're
Is
then they
required
get rid
to
of
do.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I know
think
that
that's
there's
what it is.
definitely like timelines and stuff on there because like my boss's dad was just in the hospital, and I don't know what their medical status is exactly with insurance and whatnot, but it was like you're in there for 7 days or whatever. He'd like fallen and like done something with his hip, and basically they're like pushing you out. They're like, okay, let's go. Basically, like we got to get somebody else in here to make some money on.
Sure. Well, I think that's
mean,
a good point.
I mean, pretty much.
Well, and there's different rules when it comes to all of that, as length of stay, short term, long term, how much the insurance covers for a short term versus a long term stay. So it's first off, it's massively complicated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even for smart people, it's hard to figure out. I will say that AI is a big help with all of that. You can just upload your policy, upload your situation, and it'll walk you through some of that.
I think they
stuff
want it to
in
be
the
as
fine
complicated
print.
as possible, so
Of
then you don't
course.
really know what's going on, and you just, do I pay this? Do I not? I don't. Then you just pay it because you're afraid of not paying it, and you don't even know what it is.
100%.
Well, they don't
I
tell
got
you
a
what
bill
anything costs.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing, and I think Trump passed that last time he was in office, and I don't know what the status of that is, but where I think you have to ask for it. But if you ask for the cost of the services, then they have to provide it to you. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
And then you can, in theory, shop around. But who has time to shop around hospitals?
I remember when Jane was in the hospital, and she had all these hospital bills, right? And and they don't come for like months. Like 6 months
Sure.
later, you're still getting
Right.
bills, and you're like, well, I thought this
Right.
was done.
Well,
But-
and that's why people most debt. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of consumer debt, but a lot of debt that's held by people in this country is medical debt.
Yeah.
Because I think that's exactly what happens. You're not expecting it, and so we got a bill, and it's for Frankie. He had his ear tubes removed. And we had this whole thing, and they came out and they were like, oh, we talked to the insurance. It's going to be $600, and they asked us to prepay that.
Yeah.
So we did, prepaid it.
Is it cheaper?
And then, no, I just got a bill for $1,800 in the mail today. And I'm not paying it, at least not now, because I was like, maybe there's a lag.
Yeah.
Sometimes the insurance hasn't actually processed it yet, so they
Right.
send me the bill, and
Well,
so I'm like,
and
what? I'm
that's
not
why-
messing with it.
That's why Jane actually a lot of times she would be like, no, I'm not paying this now. Basically, I'm going to wait until it all kind of
Yeah,
figures itself
Right.
out here, and then I'll
Settles
see
out.
how much.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do, though. And like
Well,
the one
and
time,
of course, I'm not anticipating. They told me $600.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm
that's
not
what I was gonna
anticipating
say.
an $1,800
Sometimes if
charge.
they,
Now it's $2,400 to get us.
Yeah.
And it was a 5-minute surgery.
Oh,
if
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Sometimes though they want you to prepay, and they ask you because if you prepay, it's actually cheaper because they know that they're going to get that money for sure. In the long run, if you don't, they're like, well, I don't know, are we going to really get this or no? But the one time on one of these bills that Jane had, she went back to the insurance company and they said, oh, yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. We'll just rerun it a different way, so then it's covered. What? That's all you got to do is just ask them to rerun it a different way?
Yes.
Put a different code on it.
Yeah, you put a different code on it. And so I plugged that into ChatGPT for another bill. I think it was still with Frankie in his ears. But I plugged that in, and it says that. And they're like, well, if it got coded, it was about a hearing test. And, so they charged us a bunch of money, and if it was like elective or required, basically. And so if it gets coded as elective or something, then of course it's not covered by insurance.
Yeah.
So it tells me what it should be coded at. And so like if I call a hospital and say, "Hey, can you recode this to this?" and like it should be coded as this because the doctor ordered it, they'll be like, "Okay," and then they resubmit it to insurance, and then boom, magically it's covered.
Right.
And
Like,
I
interesting.
have an extra $1,000 in my
But
pocket.
again, they do that on purpose because most people are not going to look into it and see that, and they're just going to pay it probably. It's a
Sure.
scam.
And you're not a
Well,
health
use
insurance expert.
ChatGPT for that stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Not a
I
medical bill or
always
encoder.
wait. I always wait like 60 or 90 days before I pay a bill. Just like
Yeah.
make sure everything goes through.
Yeah, keep the money in your pocket as long as you can.
Little
Right.
arbitrage, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, back
Well, hey,
to
hold on
home
before,
ownership.
before you go to that
Yeah.
one. Did you see, because this is healthcare related, Fetterman is back in the hospital.
I did.
Did you see that?
I did see that.
Yeah, he had like a ventricular fibrillation flare up and he fell down and hit his face and he's in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I think luckily he's going to be all right. I hope. I mean, I was watching him on the news just the other day, and of course everything he said makes sense. And did we joke
I know.
about this the
He's
other
the only
week?
Democrat
I was
we like.
Yeah, I was like, this is the most Republican Democrat I've ever seen. You know, everything he says. Now I guess he's a lot of the social stuff, abortion and those kinds of things. He's very Democrat on.
Right,
But
right.
all these other stuff, all this fiscal stuff, and he's very leans to the right. So
He doesn't seem
you
like
know,
he's in very good health though. Like he needs to get his health under control. I mean, I know he's got other issues from the past, but
well, he's definitely improved a lot.
yeah.
And so he was on Hannity the other day. I was watching him on Hannity, and Hannity said the same thing, but I think he's 2 years into his term now, maybe if that.
How
So
old
he
is
still
he?
has 4 years to go. I don't think I don't know. Is he 60?
Is he that? Is he
Yeah,
that old?
50s.
I thought he was in his
I don't even know
50s.
that he's 60 exactly. Yeah, but after you have a big stroke like that, I don't know if you ever fully recover. So I did see that. Of course, we wish him the best, and I guess he made a joke that if he thought his face was messed up before, you should see it now. So that to me, that says that maybe he's in good spirits.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's in okay. And they
Still got a
again
sense of
they said
humor.
out of an abundance of caution, he's in the hospital.
Yeah, that's good. Hope he's better.
Hopefully, the government has good healthcare coverage.
Well, they have that diamond plan, when they're in...
Of course they do. That was a joke. Of course they have coverage. All right, so back to the home stuff, and just a couple of real quick facts. The VA loans came out in 44, so brought low or no down payment mortgages. We still have that today with these VA loans, but that's what allowed all of these baby boomers and their parents, the greatest generation, to get into early home ownership. So home ownership rose from 40%, give or take, in 1940 to the low 60s by the 1960s, and it peaked at almost 70% in 2004, and then dipped after 2008. So that just gives you an idea of how many people are owning houses, and I think it's steadily declining, since then.
I did see something else that was funny, or kind of funny, I guess, sad. But 20 years ago, I think I'm saying this right, the average age of homeowners was 39. And now,
I got that in here.
Fast forward
Yeah.
20 years, the average age is 59. So it's the same people.
Yes. Yeah, it is. So hold on. So here's it. Buying a home today, 2025 reality check. Here are some of the facts. So the 30-year fixed average is roughly, we were saying this earlier, approximately 6.22% this week, which is down from the highs from earlier this year. So yeah, the rates are dropping, but not by that much. And it's certainly not 2021, 2019 cheap, but I think it reached its peak around 2023. So the median existing home price is $415,000 and change. And that's a 2% year over year growth. And for 27 straight years, we've had a gain in that. So housing has always gone up, and 2% now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but I didn't look this up. But what was it back in 2022, 2023? I know the value of my house went up by like 25% or something like that in 1 year's time.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
really was probably in the last 4 to 5 years. It almost doubled, it seems like.
All right, there are 1.5 million homes on the market, so roughly a 4.5 month supply, and that's up from 4.2% a year ago. So there's a little bit more choice out there, but it's still not a buyer's market. So,
Yeah.
like I said, just a year or two ago, you had to go in and you just had to buy sight unseen and, all these crazy things. So now you have a little bit more time. Houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer, I think like 30 days or something like that.
Depending on how it's priced, I
Um,
guess, you know.
well, sure.
But
That's what it always depends on. But it's not like you can wait. Houses aren't on the market for 6 months, 9 months, and you can go in there and, that when I bought this house, it had been on the market. Then they took it off the market, put it back on the market. It
yeah,
sat on the market for 6 months. Nobody had made an offer. We were able to go in with not a low ball offer,
right,
but,
right, sure.
with a buyer's offer
Hmm.
and negotiate. Like that's not a thing
Well, my
anymore.
sister just bought a house, you know,
Yeah.
and
She got a good house. It looks nice, but it's way out there.
yeah, right. That one actually went off the market and went back on, but I don't know what was going on
Mhm.
with it. It's got all kinds of
She
problems,
said that.
probably.
Yeah.
But when it went back on, like they wanted, there was like offers like the day that it went back on,
Yeah.
and they wanted a final offer from everybody, like their best offer, pretty much like within like the next day or something, most, and that was about it. And there was somebody, it was one of those big companies who, again, sight unseen, like you said, basically had an offer on it full price, and it was like, what the crap? I mean, so
So how
yeah, she
did
had to
she get
jump
it?
on it.
How did she get it?
Well,
She
she
had
went
to
over
offer
with
above asking. Yeah.
no inspections.
Ah,
Yeah,
I didn't know
so
that. Yeah.
I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's
So
like that's a strategy. Like when we sold our last house, our guy came in and he said, "Hey, we're gonna do, we're gonna put it on the market on Wednesday. We're gonna do open house on Friday. We're gonna do private walkthroughs on Saturday, and all offers are due Sunday night." So you put like this time on it, and you basically say like, we know we're gonna have offers. So
Yeah,
put your best. You only one offer. Your
right.
best offer comes in Sunday night, and we're
Mhm.
gonna decide who we're going with on Monday.
Well,
And that's
and
exactly what we
hopefully,
did. And I sold it at 30% above asking. It was,
well, that's the other thing though that's kind of a scam too, is because okay, 30%. What'd you say? 30,000 or 30%?
30%, 30%,
Whatever.
give or take.
Either way, if it appraises out,
It didn't.
and
Well, so then we had to negotiate back and forth, and I had
right,
to give him a bunch of
yeah.
furniture from the basement,
See, that's the
and
stupid
then
thing though.
yeah,
Unless they're going
yeah,
to
it
come
was
up
a
with
whole
the
big thing.
cash.
And of course, my guy was like, well, that's BS. I've never seen a house not really appraise out, and he was like, it should have appraised out, and they didn't like appraise my deck properly. Remember, I was the only one on the street that had a deck. Everybody else had a sunroom,
Yeah,
and so like they didn't count that. And of
it wasn't
course, I
good.
mean the basement wasn't fully finished, so
Yeah.
that was a thing. But I had a really nice basement.
Well, I think that's what happened with Dan's house. Actually, is I think that it didn't appraise, and I think he actually paid the difference, which I
Yeah,
could have been $20,000 out of his pocket right
yeah,
then if he
yeah.
wanted the house
Now
for that price.
the person that I sold to was a first time home buyer, and wasn't going to be an option.
Right.
you know
Yeah.
so I got, in theory, I could have dropped her and then gone to the next person and said, hey, the house is back, but but then obviously you're risking a bunch of stuff. And so ultimately I think I mainly ate it. We did some negotiation with some furniture and some other
But you were
things, but
30,000 or 30% over, so really you didn't need it.
I still made
Yeah.
out, don't get me
Right.
wrong.
so
Yeah.
when we moved back in 2016, this house was sitting on the market, I think, for 7 months.
Wow.
And that's
It's
that's
not a
how
thing
the market
anymore.
was. Yeah, it was sitting on the
Right.
market. It was sitting on there for 7 months. We
It was
came in,
brand
we
new.
looked at it. It was brand new, built
Right.
brand new. The builder had it, so he was
Yeah.
wanting to sell it. He was lowering the price. Nobody
Hmm.
was looking at it. We looked at it when we came back over Christmas. Started talking to him, made him some offer. We, lowballed him because nobody was even making him
Sure.
offers, and
Yeah.
we negotiated down and we got a killer deal. And I mean, that was just the state of the market in 2015, 2016. And a few years later, that is just never happening. Like, you can't make an offer like that anymore.
No. Nope.
It's just
All right.
kind of timing, You get lucky
For sure.
sometimes.
All right, monthly payments. So the median monthly payment right now is about $2,500 a month. Like that's a lot for the average American. Yeah, and that's before
Taxes and insurance.
repairs, owners association, taxes, insurance. Here we go. Property taxes. the average single-family property tax bill is $4,300 a year, and that's up almost 6%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's
again,
about
6%.
probably
But
what
what's
we
the
pay.
average? What's the average raise?
Oh,
3%,
yeah, 3 to
4%.
4 maybe if you're lucky.
So you're not keeping up with inflation on things like that. That again, that's a lot of money. And now there's a little bit of a push to get rid of property taxes. So we'll see. Yeah, DeSantis is all about this now, and honestly, think about it. And he used this analogy. If you bought a TV, you bought $1,000 TV, but then every year the government said you owe me $100 on that television
Yeah, it's crap.
for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And if you didn't pay $100, they're gonna take your TV away.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Think about
and
it.
having
It's
property
crazy.
taxes and
Yeah.
income taxes and sales taxes, I mean,
Yeah.
it just stacks up.
The
on you.
average homeowner's insurance runs about $2,100 to $2,400 a year, and of course that depends on coverage. But many states saw double-digit hikes over the
Oh, yeah.
last year, and of course you got climate risk, you got hurricanes, we've had
Yeah.
a lot of hail and crazy storms.
Yep.
So I think
Everybody
that's
pays for that.
causing- Yeah,
I think when we
Right.
first moved in, it was like $1,000 a year.
Wow. Now what is it?
I think 2,500,
Yeah, I was saying
8, something like that.
Yeah.
at least.
I think that's roughly what I pay. 29% of home purchases were all cash this year, so almost 30%.
All
That's probably
cash.
big companies.
Here we go. The average house is on the market for 33 days. And I think I had some information. Okay, here we go. First-time buyers. That's the big thing. The median age is 40 for first-time home
Wow.
buyers.
That's crazy.
But hold on. Yeah, 40 for first time. That's first-time home buyers. So I bought my first house, and of course I had a little help from
Mhm.
some certain things. But
You were fairly young.
in my mid-20s, fairly young. I was probably fairly young.
I think it was 32,
What?
33.
Well, you said
Yeah.
mid. I'm thinking you were even 23 or
24, 23,
22,
24.
maybe 23, maybe because I think I was 25
yeah.
or 26.
Right.
Well, and that
Yeah,
was
maybe a
first
couple years
home,
before
but
that.
again,
Yeah.
there's renters, right? And so that means that
Sure.
people are renting, which they're just throwing money away, though.
Yeah, but there's a big push for a lot of these younger people to just rent because they don't want to have to worry about all of those crazy taxes and insurance and repairs.
Or because they're lazy.
Repairs, yeah, well, it takes a lot of work. I feel
Yeah.
like there's always something
Oh,
that
yeah.
I have to
Always.
freaking do.
Right.
Garage
But you
door
own it.
openers. Yeah.
You
Right.
have money invested. It's an asset. I mean, it's yours. You have a yard. You can have a dog be in the backyard
Sure.
loose. I mean,
Yes. Yes. And it'll pay off in the long run when I
Sell it.
when I go to sell the place, I'll have a
Right.
big chunk of money,
I think a lot of people
all right.
expect to rent for a while after they get out of high school
Sure.
or college.
Right. College.
5, 10
Yeah.
years, and then you save up, buy a house. But
How much was your
40.
rent, Nilla, at your apartment? He's frozen.
He looks like he's sleeping.
He does look like he's sleeping. All right, well, we wait for
Oh,
Nilla
we
to
lost
come
him.
back on. Well, he joined in portrait orientation. I don't know what the heck. I don't know what you're doing.
What?
Now I
There
got
was
you.
no-
I got you in here twice.
Should I leave?
Yeah,
But which
leave
one?
and come back.
Which one are you
Yeah,
gonna
that's
leave?
what I was going to say. I didn't know the end too. Hold on here.
Yeah, leave and come back. And it even says actual recording is in higher quality.
But now,
There you go.
There we go.
All good.
That's better. You're back. All right, last stat on this, because we've been on this topic for a long time, and I know we've figured out different things. And this is what you said earlier, Dudley. So first-time home buyers, median age is 40, but the overall age for home buyers is 59.
Crazy.
So
But I
Yeah.
think 20 years ago, it was 20 years less. I think it was,
probably.
I think it was 40 was the, what'd you say it was this?
Yeah. Yeah, you probably still had,
59.
you had
You said it
Gen
was
X
30.
coming up.
Yeah.
You had baby boomers that were probably buying their second home or, whatever it was. Cash
You were-
rich.
You were saying something earlier about the VA loans and stuff, but I was talking to a guy at my company. His kids, they both actually were buying houses, and they were both trying to get VA loans. Well,
Mhm.
the VA loans, they make it really hard to get, though, with these inspections. Everything
Yeah.
has to be perfect,
Sure.
and so it was so big
Because
of a hassle.
they're taking a lot of risk.
I mean,
Because
yeah.
you don't have any money and no skin in the game.
Right. But like they couldn't, the one guy actually ended up not even going with the VA loan because it was so inconvenient. Basically, like it was going to lose the house, and they actually had put money into this house to fix it to make it be able to pass the inspection for the VA loan. So they would have been out that money.
Right.
They put money into a house that wasn't even theirs, and I was like, what? But that's what you have to do to get these houses nowadays. Almost,
Yeah.
it's like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, do you remember that graphic I sent you guys too about the FHA loans to the immigrants? That like 6% were going to like
Oh.
H-1B visa
Mm-hmm.
holders and immigrants, and then in the past 3 months, that's dropped down to less than 1%. So I mean,
Right.
that's a
Right.
huge. That's 5% of loans that were going to, you know, immigrants too, and not
Which
Americans.
should mean more, yeah, more houses available for Americans, and supply and demand, all that good stuff.
Let's put Americans first. I think that's what we ought to do. Like,
Always
Yeah.
we're
America
the ones paying
first.
the taxes. We're the ones living here. This is our country. Why are we putting immigrants ahead of the citizens
Mm.
that live here? I never understood that.
We feel
Well,
bad for them.
I
the
don't
thing
feel
is,
bad for them.
the thing is illegal immigrants, right? Like, I think as a country, we've always been like, yeah, come on over. You do it legally. You contribute to society.
You want to
Sure.
You pay
assimilate? Yeah.
taxes. Yeah, you want to assimilate. You part of our culture, and you, not to say that you can't still have your own culture.
Right, but you want to be an
Of course
American.
you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, of
But don't
course, yeah,
push
you
it
want
on
to
us
be in
either.
America, right? Well, of course a very fine line, and
Yeah.
I think you say, these illegal immigrants come in, and then they snatch up all the resources, and we just end up paying for all of it, and then we have actual Americans that are suffering,
Well, the
and it
worst
just
part
Actually,
doesn't
is
it doesn't compute with me.
they don't want to assimilate into our culture or be an American. They want to
No, they
try to
just want to come
bring
here for all
their
the free. They just
yeah.
want all the free stuff, and then yeah,
yep.
they just flood the market,
Yeah.
and they set up their own little communities, and again, that's fine to an extent, but be an American.
This is not
Okay,
Syria.
well, here's a true American. Let's switch to local and the Lou. A true American and a St. Louisan. I don't know. Did anybody catch Saturday Night Live over the weekend?
Is that show still on?
It is still on, and I'm not like a habitual watcher of it, but I was intrigued this week because St. Louis's own Nikki Glaser was the host,
Mm.
Interesting.
and
She got a podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
huh?
Don't she have a podcast?
Yeah, she did. I think so. I don't know. I think she's married to a radio. No, she's not married. It's her boyfriend, but
I think my boss was
is
just
a
telling me about
is
her
a
today.
radio
Said her
guy. Yeah,
podcast is extremely
Who
vulgar.
doesn't have a podcast? I mean, we have one.
yeah. Yeah, we've got now exactly. Yeah, we can make up business cards. We can put it on LinkedIn. Whatever.
It's a write-off.
Yeah, on your
It's a
resume.
write-off.
It's a content. We're content creators.
They
Man.
write it
Yeah,
off.
there you go.
Creators.
Influencer.
Just like Nikki Glaser. You don't even know what a write-off is.
You just write it off.
Some Seinfeld, right? um. Well, Nikki Glaser, she's our age, so I think she's like 41, 42.
Huh.
I'm not sure if she graduated in 02 or 03, but I'm pretty sure it's like 02. And
Where'd you go to high school?
I got that. She went to Kirkwood.
Really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, went to Kirkwood. She's got to be one of the biggest comics out there right now, for sure. She does all those roasts, which is part of the
Yeah.
way that she got,
Yeah.
so popular.
Sure.
Good looking. I will say she's got some legs on her, and if you go watch the Saturday Night Live, I mean, legs.
She's
right?
not a
can see 'em.
paraplegic.
No, long legs. But Caroline said it, and she says it too. She's got no ass on her. That's no
Yeah,
ass.
can't have it
Flat
all.
Back.
Straight to
Can't
her
have
back.
it all, right? Yes, but she does have long legs, and she was wearing a short skirt, all that stuff. But very funny. But so go back and listen to it if you haven't. But her monologue, she caught a lot of heat for this because and I won't spoil it, but a lot of jokes about pedophilia,
Mm.
rape, sex trafficking, all in her monologue. So pretty serious topics, but pretty funny. She had some funny sketches. Karaoke night I thought was the best one, and I think it was the first one where she's singing karaoke with her brother, and her brother's new girlfriend is there meeting the family, and they're up on stage and they're singing sexy songs about like making love. I feel like
Hmm.
making love. That wasn't one
Yeah.
of the songs.
Inappropriate
But,
stuff.
and then they're doing all kinds of crazy
Her and her brother?
stuff. And right. Well, it's not a real life brother, but in
Oh,
the sketch, it's her
okay.
brother. Yeah, yeah. And of course, the girlfriend's like, what is going on? What did I walk into?
Okay, this is the
And they're like,
sketch.
what?
Gotcha.
What? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a sketch. It's
You'll have
very,
to share
very
it
funny.
later on.
Yeah, yeah. Go check it out. Just if nothing else, to support Nikki Glaser, support
Sure.
a St. Louis
Fellow podcaster.
a fellow podcaster. Yeah, yeah.
She
And this
needs
was
the
her
support.
first time hosting.
Maybe
Yeah,
she'll
yeah.
send some support our way.
Yeah, there you go.
You never know. Maybe she sponsors this. Maybe at some point we can have her on as a guest.
That would be
Yeah,
pretty
you never
fun,
know.
actually.
Yeah, yeah. You never know. But she's pretty raunchy, and that's why she's always been, I think, not only funny but popular. I think so. Other St. Louisans that have hosted Saturday Night Live, we got John Hamm, of course. Yes, he has to be the biggest St. Louis celebrity, right?
We were actually just talking about this today. So John Hamm, John Goodman.
John
Yeah.
Goodman, yep,
Um,
and he's certainly hosted Saturday Night Live in the past many a times, I think.
Max Scherzer's
think-
athlete,
Yeah,
The two
he's an
women
athlete.
from The
Yeah, we got a
Office?
lot of
Yeah,
athletes.
the three.
Ellie
I
Kemper,
think all the three women from The Office, right?
Three.
all from The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all from The Office. They're all from St. Louis. They all went to school, I think, with John Hamm. I think John Hamm was Ellie Kemper's drama teacher before he made it big with Mad Men. Jenna Fisher from The Office, and then the one that I ran into at
Is
Kenrick's,
that Phyllis?
Phyllis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now, this was weird. She was driving like a 1993 Saturn. I swear to God. At Kenrick's, great. I'm glad that she's supporting
Yeah, local.
local meat market.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you driving a 93 Saturn? It's like a car I would have had in high school.
Going to the meat
Well,
market, huh?
I mean,
Somebody drove a Saturn. Was it Dolan?
I was,
I don't
yeah. Remember the whiteout
Yeah.
incident?
Before the Probe, but I think that was his new car. That was the Probe.
wow, that's another good one.
He had
That is
some,
a
he
good
had
one. The
some good
whiteout
ones.
incident is crazy. We were doing these. Nilla, you weren't there because you went to a different school, and I'm sure you've heard the story. But we were having these wars. We're doing stupid stuff on the highway. We ended up we just effing up everybody's cars.
Not
And
dead.
Dudley was riding with me, and then Dolan and a couple of other people in his car. And this was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. The car, how far apart were the cars?
I don't
mean,
know.
30 yards?
30, yeah, I was going to say 40 feet, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. And so one side of the cul-de-sac to the other, definitely. And Dudley did like this hook shot of a case of whiteout
Oh, yeah.
without the top on it, like over my car, and it's going, and like Dolan can see it coming. And now they said the old crank windows. He's like cranking up his window so that it got down to this much, and that whiteout went right in that little space, and then just exploded. Perfect shot. Exploded in his car.
That's crazy.
Terrible.
What are the
We were
chances of
terrible.
that? I mean, that's
What
insane.
are the chances?
Shout out to Dan Nolan.
Yeah.
And whiteout.
Andy Cohen.
You know, his
Andy
sister
Cohen,
lives across the
obviously.
street from my parents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was my babysitter back
Small world.
Small world. Yeah, so Andy Cohen, super popular. Nelly,
Yeah,
music
of
scene
course,
I know,
yeah.
but big. Ellie Kemper, Sterling K. Brown.
Who's that?
So
That's right.
you would know him. He was in
Yeah.
the OJ. He was in. Was it All of Us or all?
Something like that.
I don't remember. I never watched it.
Yeah, I mean, Jane watched it, but
Yeah.
I saw it, but I was like, I'm not watching this.
He's in a
TV
lot of
or movie?
things. TV.
TV more.
Yeah. So, but his big break was probably that OJ one.
I didn't even know about that
True
one.
American Crime Story. Yeah, with Sarah Paulson and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, I think I watched that. Yeah.
Played OJ. Yeah.
So what did
He was the second prosecutor,
Okay.
not the main prosecutor. So he worked under Sarah Paulson in that one. So yeah, he's a good one. I don't know who are the other big celebrities? You did mention John Goodman.
There's more, but
We have a lot of athletes, but I'm not really counting athletes.
who was the guy who on the airplane you were talking to his mom? He's big actor. Yeah.
Jack Dorsey too. He's Twitter.
That's true.
He's not really.
Oh yeah, well a
celebrity,
lot of
but
a lot of tech people,
Yeah.
Jack Dorsey and And the OpenAI guy, Sam Altman, he's from St. Louis. Yeah, ChatGPT guy.
Yeah.
All right, Nilla, hold on. I want to go back to this. Who was I talking to?
He was in what was that one with Jennifer Aniston and the RV and this,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Meet the Millers?
Jason
or-
Sudeikis. Well, that's Kansas City.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's his aunt. So she,
Oh, is that? Oh,
yeah,
oh,
she
wow.
loosely not works with me directly, but
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know she worked with
yeah.
you. I just thought you were on the plane with her and talking to her.
No. She's
Oh.
like a client. She's a client.
Okay.
So yeah. But that's Kansas City.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Uh-oh.
right.
Might as well be Kansas,
Exactly. All right. I got a couple topics for the wheel. I've got music, food news, TV news, sports, tech, and geopolitics. What do you guys want? I'm going to spin it, so it's up to the wheel gods, I guess. But if you had to pick a topic, what would it be?
Probably tech, probably. I don't know.
Tech. All right, tech.
I'd have to hear him
Noah?
again.
Geopolitics, tech, sports, TV news, food news, or music.
I'm kind of curious what a couple of them are about, but what's TV news? Maybe I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. Well, see, here's the thing. I put this together, so a lot of them are things that I'm interested in, not necessarily you guys.
Well,
so we'll see. We'll spin the wheel here.
You didn't have ChatGPT do that for you?
Spin the wheel.
No, put the topics
specifically?
in there.
Well, they did all the work.
They?
yeah.
ChatGPT did all the work.
many
I
are there?
put the topics in. How many topics?
No, how many ChatGPTs are there?
There's only one.
There's only one. I don't know. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Sometimes I'll have multiple
Keep
tabs.
going.
All right. So tech came up, and this is actually probably the one I was the least interested in, but I did watch this live today, and this was the Blue Origin flight.
Land in the rocket.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much what it is. Pretty cool stuff.
I saw Elon gave a shout out to Bezos on that one.
Yeah.
He's like,
so
yeah,
that was
man,
the
a
thing,
few years after I did it, but whatever.
Well, so Elon's the only one that I think has ever been able to successfully land a rocket.
Mhm.
This is the
Second guy.
only the second company to ever do it. So I watched it live. It was pretty neat. They shot it up, of course, just like rockets do, and it's holding 2 payloads for NASA, just like rockets do. So they're going to Mars. So that's pretty cool, I guess, in and of itself, is going to Mars.
So the payloads are going to Mars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to take some time. I think it's going to take I think over a year for them to get there. And they're unmanned, of course. They're whatchamacallit, but so it's called New Glenn. It's the second mission. The first one didn't go so well. It launched from Cape Canaveral. Was supposed to be earlier in the week, but they had to scrub it due to the weather and solar activity. We saw that in St. Louis, the solar activity, the Northern Lights. Did you guys get out and see it?
I didn't get to go out and see it. I saw the pictures you guys sent, but
Unbelievable. I mean, first off, how often does this happen in St. Louis? You got to be on top of
didn't
this
it happen
stuff,
like
guys.
a few months ago or a year ago?
It did happen about a year ago or so, but in my lifetime, I don't think it had ever happened until
Seems
then.
like it's happening
So
all
now-
the time now. So
Well, it makes you a little nervous, doesn't it? What's going on with the sun?
yeah, right.
I don't know.
I did see that
So-
they had it was like the biggest CME event that they had recorded or something here recently.
Yeah. Well, you got to watch out for this stuff. It can screw up communications. It can shut down the electrical grid.
It could screw up our
so some of
podcast,
that
so we got to watch out.
Exactly. Well, Nilla, he's off now. I think his phone died.
Got him.
We'll see. We'll see if he
It
plugs
got
in
him.
and hops back on. Well, I got the notification that he was at 20% again, but I didn't say anything this time. I was like, oh, he knows.
Charge your phone. Come on, man. Hey,
I mean,
speaking of,
you're joining a podcast.
Speaking of tech, did you see the video of the Russian robot?
I did see that.
That
was set to the
hilarious. Yeah, the
set
Rocky.
to the theme of Rocky, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm like, all right, this is cool, and then just down.
I love
I'm
it.
like, you got to be kidding me.
And then the guy with the curtain pulls it out. It's all twisted up. It's like, you guys are a disaster. Somebody's getting shot
Yeah.
over that one.
Yeah, anytime yeah, probably, right?
I'm sorry, Vlad,
anytime
I'm
you-
sorry.
Anytime you do an unveiling and something doesn't go right, I mean, like, oh, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, you don't want to do that in Russia.
All
I
right.
also saw there was a Chinese car company that was trying to repeat. I think Land Rover did this like huge. Did you see this? Where they climbed this
Mm-mm.
big staircase, like a big old stone staircase. It's a
No.
giant hill.
Yeah.
And Land
Right.
Rover did a commercial years ago. So that some Chinese car company was trying to recreate it, and they got halfway up, and it came rolled backwards, and it hit the side and knocked a bunch of the bridge over.
Ah, no good. No good. Well, did you see? I think you sent this in the chat. You saw that bridge in China.
Yeah,
How much money did that cost?
man.
How much time did they spend building this bridge? And then they just blamed it on erosion, and the whole thing collapsed.
Yeah, and what a couple, I mean, it was just completed like a couple months ago, I think, right?
A year, maybe? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Wasn't it one of the longest
Yes.
spanning bridges
Yeah.
or something?
I think I remember seeing it when
Hmm.
they were touting this as an engineer,
Marvel, yeah.
feat for our lifetime or whatever. And man,
But
that's
luckily, I think they saw it coming and nobody was like
well, right,
injured. Like
right.
they had everybody
Yeah,
evacuated.
yeah,
But yeah, the video
yeah,
on that's crazy too.
yeah. Bummer. Sucks for them. Sucks
Sucks
for
for
that
China.
designer, right? Sucks for China. We're not worried about that, but okay, around the horn, I have a couple of things real quick. And one of them is a callback to a couple of podcasts ago. Did you see this MLB gambling scandal now?
Oh God, are you serious?
I know. So stop. If you're gambling in sports now, just stop. If you're losing money, if you're not one of these professionals, like if you're just doing it for fun, you're never gonna win. It's all rigged. And so these two Cleveland Guardian pitchers, and there could be more, but they were indicted. They both appeared in court. Now they both pleaded not guilty, but they're accused of purposefully throwing pitches.
Throwing game.
No pitches. So it's kind of hard
What
to
are
say.
they
Of
supposed
course
to
they're
do?
throwing pitches, right? Exactly. Well, so they're accused of doing these prop bets. So you mean a prop bet. So they would be all these people betting on whether the next pitch was going to be a ball or a strike.
Mm.
And so these pitchers, now I don't know how they knew.
This is during
or
the
maybe
game.
during the game. And one of them was against the Cardinals. And they show it, and basically this guy throws the ball almost immediately into the ground, and like, oh, the ball slipped or whatever, goes to the backstop. Well, they're citing that as evidence, because I guess everybody was betting that it was going to be a strike, and somehow he knew that, and it's all rigged, and so anybody that bet it was going to be a ball, they all made millions of dollars, and
They better do something because they're gonna destroy the sports if they keep that up.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna watch
right.
it.
Well, because we've seen sports betting obviously has become more and more popular, and it is fun, but it's addictive. So I think that's one of the big things right now. It's addictive.
If you have a
and
gambling problem, call 1-800
well,
game.
right,
1-800.
But
That's off.
and then
Yeah,
the thing is it's not even gambling because
Well,
it's rigged. It's rigged.
you think that it is, but again, so they weren't really throwing the game.
No,
just-
not the
just
game in
random
per
pitches.
se, but random pitches. But you know how that goes. I mean,
What kind of degenerate is betting on a single pitch like that? Like throughout the whole game, just betting on every single pitch. Come on.
well, they show the thing is they'll show you the odds, and they'll be like, oh, well, how is it not 50-50 first off, or a ball or a strike? But they'll be like 70% chance that this is going to be a strike. So then everybody will bet, based
it's gonna
on
be a
that.
ball.
And you can look at like the win probability. So like you look at the New York Giants football right now, and I don't really pay attention to the NFL a whole lot, but they've lost like 4 games in a row where at some point in the fourth quarter they had like a 95% win probability, and they've lost all 4 of them. So now you start wondering, like, you're like, wait a minute, is that rigged? And sometimes you'll have these prop bets, and I don't even know if this is a prop bet, but like Patrick Mahomes, is he going to rush for 100 yards? So everybody pushes
Stops
that
at
in.
99.
Well, he'll be at 103, and you think you've won, and then at the end of the game he'll take a sack on purpose, to kill time. He'll run backwards like 5 yards and take a sack, and now he's at 96 yards for the day, and gone. So that money, and then you're like, well, did he know that the bet was 100 yards and that he was at 104 and he just took a 6-yard sack on the
You
last
do
play
have
of the
to
game?
wonder,
Or
you
you just
know.
trying to kill time, like
But it
Sometimes you
calls it
gotta
all
wonder.
into question. You know, if you
Exactly.
have these
All of it.
guys that are infiltrating these major sports, it's going to call
Yeah.
everything into question. And then who's going to?
Yeah, and of course I'm
who's
not
gonna blame
accusing
it?
Patrick Mahomes in particular. I'm just using that as an example.
right,
We
exactly.
would never accuse Patrick Mahomes. But,
No, I mean it's from Kansas City, but
right, exactly.
If anybody's going to do it, be Kansas City.
Yeah. Now maybe like rigging elections or something like that, betting
Yeah,
you might,
right.
I don't-
Right. I tell you. All right. Well, that's all I have. Did you guys have anything else?
I don't have.
We're at 1 hour right now. This might be our shortest podcast yet. I haven't even finished my beer, which I'll call out. Another second shift 2 weeks in a row. That was by accident, but this is my Brewligans beer. So
I saw it earlier
heard that.
actually, and I thought, oh,
STL City Brewligans, is that what that is?
Yeah. Now there was big news today. Busch Light again for duds. I will. So this
Keep
I
it
had this in
classy.
the wheel. So it was in the wheel. Do I talk about it or do I not talk about it because it didn't come up? So my sports news today was about the MLS. I know. I mean, you guys aren't as big of soccer fans as I am, but you've been to games, duds. I know you like going to games.
Yeah, they're
Billy,
fun.
you've been with me. So they announced today, the MLS, they're doing a couple of things. One, they're reversing their schedule. So starting in 2027, they're going to start their season in late July, early August, and they're going to run through May. And that aligns more with international soccer. So it's definitely better for the league, but is it better for fans? I think that's what some people will question. Now, 91% of the games are still within the same window. But now they won't play in June and July for the most part, and they're going to take a break from basically all of January's a break, and then a little bit in December and a little bit of February.
That makes sense, right?
But they're going to be playing in some colder months, for sure.
But avoid
9%.
the hot months, right? That's
Right.
kind
So
of
they're gonna avoid the hottest months probably, and they're
Well,
aligned
July.
again. Yeah, July, and but the big thing is that they're aligned with international soccer, so they'll be able to do transfers and trades and all of that stuff with international.
I mean, it makes more sense.
Teams definitely makes more sense in that regard. So they're gonna do like and I'm a season ticket holder, so I'm curious how this will play into how it'll play with my contract, because I'm contracted for 3 more years at a certain price. Well, I'm pretty sure I have to go look at. Maybe I'll put it into ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure it's 3 more years, not 3 more seasons, because what they're going to do a regular 2026, and of course we have the World Cup next year here in the U.S. And then in 2027 they're going to do a truncated season, so they're going to just play 14 games from February till May, and that'll be their whole season. And then they're going to take a break for June and July, and then they'll start up at the end of mid 2027 as a normal season. So I'm like, how does that mess with
that's because
pricing?
of the World Cup?
No, not in particular. Yeah, but there is a big focus on U.S. soccer, and that's part of the reason they're wanting to make this change, and they want to grow the league. They're doing a couple of other things too. Right now, we have an East Conference and a West Conference. It looks like they're going to merge to just one table, if you will. So we'll have our division where we'll play teams like Kansas City, Nashville, Chicago. We'll play them twice, once in St. Louis and once in the other market. And then we'll play all the other teams once, either home or away. And then the next year it'll flip flop. Right?
Okay. Well, that makes sense too.
Yeah, it does make sense. So we'll see that. And then they also announced today that they're getting rid of the MLS paywall, is what it's called. So right now, if you want to watch MLS, for the most part, you have to have Apple TV, and then you have to pay extra to watch MLS games. So now they're getting rid of that. So now if you have Apple TV, you can watch MLS games, and that's that. So that's
really
probably good
wish
for the league. It's good for Apple TV.
that they
Good
would
for soccer.
put those on the national broadcasted stations. So if it's your local team, you can just watch it on a over-the-air
Right.
broadcast.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that.
Yeah, they do. They do it a little bit now, but it's like it's not live, that kind of a thing. And then there are some other options where they broadcast games on Fox Sports and stuff like that aren't included in the Apple thing, and then they have the free Apple game. So, but they're making some changes. So in theory, it should be more available to more people.
I just am so tired of having to have Hulu and Disney and HBO.
Well, that's the
and
thing. So there's so many.
What's that? Netflix and
Yeah.
Apple
How do you
TV.
keep up with all this?
Well, it's
Right.
worse than when you just had cable.
Right.
Everybody,
It
was
is.
great in the beginning, and then it's
Yeah.
way worse than it was.
YouTube TV, like when I signed up for YouTube TV, it was $50. Like I don't, it's like $90 or something like that now.
That's the thing and they're all going up.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, just like what we were talking about, we've gone full circle, right? Inflation's out of control, spending's out of control, and wages, unfortunately,
Ooh.
no.
Bitcoin is discounted right now if you want to buy some.
Yeah, discounted. That's a good way to put it. Tesla stock too. Tesla, I think it was. I've had a bad week in the market. Tesla's down, Bitcoin's down.
The market took a
How do you think they?
beating today.
Yeah, I know. I tell you.
I didn't even look. I don't even want.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Buy Tesla. Buy Bitcoin before it's too late. Lock in your mortgage.
Stacks the sats.
All right, guys. And that's that. All right. Well, I'm busy next week. We got to figure out what we're doing, or we're going to take it a week off. We'll talk about that. But adios for now.
A week off? What do you mean a week off?
He's gonna
I'm going to be gone.
Working man.
So,
all right.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. So, some rush working man going on here. All right.
Sounds
Stopping
good.
the recording.
This number has been disconnected.